Hey guys, this is Natalia from Autism Elements. So today I want to take you on a trip to memory lane. I want to tell you about my story when I first had to write my first IEP. Now, I'm going to give you a little background story before we get started. That way you can understand where I was coming from. So, if you've heard any of my previous podcasts, I have told you a little bit about my background story. First, I want to start by saying that I am an out of field educator and I actually graduated with a bachelor's in social work. When I graduated and I was looking for a job after giving birth to my son, my mom kind of kept pushing me to the teaching world when teaching was the place to be. So I decided to do all my certifications and join this bandwagon. I know that I had an amazing inspiration and a great teacher that inspired me to truly be in the special education world because I worked during my college year as a pre K assistant. Now, she just taught me all the impact you can do for those special kids. So, this is where I was going to head. I was going to work with special needs. So, I decided to join in the middle of a year. So, this was in December, a job fair that a nearby district was having. And I researched the schools that I wanted. And, even when I interviewed, I knew what schools I wanted to work for, I knew what I wanted to do. But I was straightforward in my interviews. I literally told them, I said, listen, I'm young, I'm only 21, I'm out of field, but I am eager, passionate, and ready to learn if given the right opportunity. So one of the administrators, I guess she saw something in me and said, "Hey, I want you to join our team. Come and join us. I want you to be my support facilitator." For those of you who are a little bit new, or maybe it is not quite the term that they use on your district area, a support facilitator in my district is a teacher that provides special education or ESC services to students who are in gen ed or general education classrooms. So they might either get pulled out for services or maybe services are pushed in, seen by a teacher who is certified in special education. Um, my caseload was around roughly probably between 40 to 60 students. And I had never, ever, ever written an IEP, heard of an IEP, or knew what an IEP was. And I remember as soon as I started, I shared a classroom with another support facilitator who was a veteran teacher and had been doing this for many years. And so as soon as she comes in, she's like, "Hey, I need you to test these students with these diagnostic assessments, and then you're going to be writing IEPs." Yeah, about that. I had no idea. So she did her best to give me like the quickest version, tell me what to do. And here I was testing students on these diagnostic assessments. But then she was like, "Oh, great. Now you have to do reports on them." And I was like, "Good times. I have no idea how to do this either." So she quickly taught me those things. But I really, really had to learn everything on the go. I felt like I was in the middle of an ocean, barely swimming above water, barely making it through. And I think the biggest thing is to really navigate a world that I had no idea about. I never knew how important IEPs or individualized education plans can be, how much legality and how much legal power they really have. So I can honestly admit that if I had to go back and look at those IEPs, they were probably not my best quality work in IEP world. It took me, I think, a lot of years to fine tune and like perfect my craft in writing IEPs where they were solid, where they had good factual information, where they were very data driven, where they really captured students in the different modalities. It wasn't just negativity, it wasn't just the bad things that kids did or the things they couldn't do. It was a format that really kind of like what I like to call the sandwich is positive, the struggles, and then with some great achievement students can do. But it took me a while. It took me a while to master my craft. Then I was placed, after having a medical leave, I was placed in a special program or a smaller classroom dedicated or designed for students with autism spectrum disorder. And then it was a whole nother level of writing IEPs, which again, I had never done. And although I had some guidance, I felt like it wasn't enough. I really never really got the glimpse of all the things that should have been included to make sure that I was covered legally and to make sure that I truly captured a good picture of where their students' present levels of performance were. So, what I have done is I am now trying to provide other special educators who are in the same shoes that I was, that did not have a single clue what an IEP was, didn't understand how legally impactful it can be, and give you all the shortcuts, give you all the guidance, the support, everything you need to know to make sure that you write quality IEPs, that you write smart goals. And I even go to the extent I created a guide just to help you, give you some direction when you're writing those domains for curriculum, for social, for communication, for independent functioning. What should you cover in those? I mean, there's such a generic standard, right, as to what do I include in it, but I cover many, many different perspectives. I have consulted with a ton of experts in those areas of expertise. So I've talked to my SLPs, I have talked to physical therapists, I have talked to occupational therapists. I give you examples, experiences, my failures, so you can learn all the things that I took me a good chunk of years. I want to say easily from 8 to 10 years to to really perfect that craft and give you all that knowledge in one place. So if you are that special educator who are still learning those ropes and you want to fine tune and make sure you're covered and you're being factual and you're writing these legal documents, I am giving you the online course that I created called Writing Quality IEPs. If you haven't looked into it, you can look a little bit into it by taking a look through my bio and my link or the links below where I talk about how to join my academy that has this course. Now, take advantage because I am including again the whole presentation so you can reflect on it. I'm giving you the guide completely for free so you can have that as a reference tool as you're writing those IEPs all the time. Talks about all the type of assessments you can include, how you can word things. I mean, even disclaimers to add when you're giving certain assessments and you know your students are struggling with it. Because one thing I learned too is that sometimes when we're documenting, students will do something in the class, but yet when you test them, the testing protocols are very rigid and you won't get the same results. But you know that this student can do so much more. So I go into how do you word some of those things? Okay. And I want you guys to become experts from the beginning and not feel like you have to spend 8 to 10 years to fine tune this craft, right? I want to give you the tools so you see the success as you're writing these things. And because the more you prepare for these legal documents, when you have these meetings, the more ready you're going to be and you're going to know exactly what to say and how to talk about these things. Okay. So let me help you, give you all my knowledge. I want to be the person that, holds your hand through this and really helps you understand this world of writing IEPs. So I know that I'm coming from the area of I was that teacher. I was that teacher that had no idea what to do, and it took me a while, but I don't want you to be that teacher. So I hope to see you at the academy. And I hope that you enjoy this podcast. Make sure to follow, subscribe, share with others. And until the next time, have a good one, guys. Take care.